What is your name and the name of your business?
My name is William Sandoval, and I own Sandoval Strength Systems here in Katy. So when I was 14, I knew that I always wanted to be active in sports. I didn't know what I wanted exactly, but I just knew I loved, playing football, soccer, basketball, and baseball and stuff like that. And so from a young age, I knew I wanted to own a gym. It's just something that I wanted to help a lot of people find, a healthy way to do things and be active, just because I loved it so much. And so ever since then, I just knew I wanted to become a personal trainer, help people out, and then just kind of go from there, and I wanted to own my own gym. So before I owned Sandoval, basically I worked at a different gym as a manager for 4 years. And one of my training partners that I had over there, someone that I just regularly just give a spot to or, help load their weight, whatever, ended up becoming my main investor. And it's actually a pretty funny story on how it happened. So a week after I quit, just because I felt undervalued and underappreciated, he reached out to me and he gave me a call and he was like, "Hey, Will, what are you doing?" I'm like, just trying to find a job, man, and trying to make it happen. And so he's like, "All right, well, let's meet for lunch." And I was like, "Okay, we can do that." So a week later, we met for lunch, and we sit down, talk for about 3-4 hours, and then at the end of the lunch, he was like, "So what do you think it'll take, financially to open up a gym?" And I was thinking of all the license, permits, equipment, if I need to hire someone or not. And so, I told him, 50, 60 grand, just to get my foot in the door and the business kind of started. And so he was like, "Okay." And we talked for a little longer, and then he's like, "Oh, just wait here." And so he goes out to his car, he comes back with a check for 60 grand. And I thought I was being punked, man. I thought, there's no way this guy's giving me $60. Like he doesn't know anything about me. And so, a week passes, I don't cash the check. And he gives me another call. He's like, "Hey, man, what are you doing?" And I'm like, "Just chilling. What's up?" He's like, "Why don't you cash the check?" And I'm like, I just haven't gotten around to it yet." And he was like, "All right, well, just meet me at the bank." So I was like, "Okay." And so we meet at the bank, and he's like, "Hey, do you have the check?" And I'm like, "Yeah." So he hands it to the teller, and he tells the teller to cash it. And so, he ends up giving me 60 grand in cash, and he's like, "Go make your dream happen, man." And that's kind of how the opportunity came about. I didn't know this person. I didn't know what he did for a living, and he saw something in me that I didn't even see at the time, but he made a pretty good call.
So you got the check, you got the cash.
Yeah, I got the cash, and it was time to start. So I'd quit my job back in February of last year, and we had a scramble to just get it all started. So we opened up April that same year. And basically, we were trying to look for equipment. I kind of already knew where I wanted my equipment to come from, which was Texas Strength Systems out in San Antonio. And that's where we got most of the equipment for all of our powerlifting stuff. And after that, it was just, if I wanted to paint here, paint there, how much am I going to spend on all the resources and cleaning supplies and stuff like that, just trying to get all the permits and everything. So we had basically 2 months. We didn't really have an opening date. Everything happened so fast, honestly, just because we just wanted to get started. And, it was a big learning curve for me, too, finding out about different permits and licenses that I needed and going through all the paperwork of it. And so, yeah, for the first month after he handed me the check, it was just finding equipment, trying to find a location. And we looked everywhere. And it's kind of it's a funny story how we found this spot, too. Which it's kind of worked out for us. So what ended up happening is that we use this app called LoopNet to find commercial real estate, and we were going through it, and I've seen this place, but it was just outside of our price range, and so we kind of passed it up. We kept looking around. We went all the way out to Brookshire, went all the way out to Rosenberg. We couldn't find a good, solid location, and I was kind of put in a position because my father-in-law has a church as well, and they were just getting out of their contract at the school that they were at. And so I wanted to help them out too at the same time. And so I needed to find a location that had AC in it, which I love AC anyways too. So I wanted that anyways. And so we kind of gave up looking for a spot for a little bit until, we were driving on Franz over here and we saw this part. And so we were like, man, let's just pull in and see what's going on here. And so we called the number that was on the street sign, and it just went straight to voicemail. But then when we came into the business part, there's a different number on the door. So we called that one, and that was the landlord. And so he had guys here fixing up the place for a church, but they ended up not wanting to lease it anymore. And so we walk in, and it's AC, open space, and we're like, this could work. And so that's how we kind of found the place. And so we were able to host a church here every Sunday morning. So we'd actually close down the gym for on Sunday until about noon, and we'd move all the equipment out of the way, set up chairs and a stage for my father-in-law's church to meet here, and that helped out with rent, because they paid rent basically. So, and that's kind of how it all kind of just started happening, and yeah. All right. So whenever COVID happened, and it was one of those decisions that, when you're new to a business and you don't know how things happen, because this has never happened before, the economy never shut down like this. And so, honestly, we stayed open a little longer than we should have. And, I regret that, but, you're going to make bad decisions sometimes and you're going to make good decisions sometimes. And it's just all a learning experience. And so with COVID happening, after we shut down, we weren't getting any income because, I'm an honest guy, and I wasn't going to charge people's memberships when they're not able to come. Some of the big corporate gyms still charge memberships all the time, no matter what, no matter if you're flooded or hurricane comes through or anything like that. But with the economy shutting down, it kind of shut us down a little bit. So we had to close for about 2 months. And kind of the way that we pivoted the attention was we try to sell more merchandise and stuff like that, just to keep the lights on and stuff like that. And we try to advertise online training a little bit more, online programming, and trying to get people active as they're at home, sitting down, chilling. And the way that we kind of bounced back from it pretty well, because most of our members, we retained a lot of memberships during the time, so not a lot of people canceled. We went from mid 100s to low 100s, so it wasn't too bad, but it was just enough to where we couldn't quite pay all the bills. And so we had to kind of lean towards our t-shirt sales and our online programming a little bit. And the way we kind of, once we were able to open it back up, we went on a scheduled based kind of deal where people can come in on appointments and train so that they can start using the gym, and so that we can start getting more income coming in. And that really, people actually like that a lot. So they can, schedule ahead of time when they wanted to come, and they knew exactly who they were going to be working out with and what they're doing. So that's kind of how we kind of bounced back. We scheduled everything out ahead of time, and now it's just, advertising, getting people back in the door, getting people to feel comfortable here. So we do cleaning, we put down all the equipment, we make sure everything's nice and clean at the beginning and end of the day, and even in the middle of the day. So to make people feel comfortable and safe here.
So what do you attribute to your success?
Probably my hard work ethic. Yeah, growing up, I had to do a lot of things on my own. My mom worked all the time. My dad wasn't really in the picture too much. So learning, how to ride a bike, I had to learn from my brother. And, learning how to tie a tie, I learned from a stranger at JCPenney. I was getting ready for a dance, and my mom took me to JCPenney because I was only 14. And she was like, do you want to tie? And I was like, yeah, I want to tie. But I just didn't know how to tie it. And so to see if it was the right length or anything like that. And so I saw this guy walking around with a tie. You know, I kind of summed up the courage to go and ask him, hey, can you teach me how to tie a tie? And he kind of looked a little shocked that I was coming up to him and asking him that. He was like, yeah, I can definitely show you. And I was like, here's the easiest knot you need to know. You just got to loop it around and pull it through, and that's it. And so that's how I kind of learned how to tie a tie. And so, you know, after that, it's just, I kind of looked at the world a little differently, just because I didn't have a mentor to kind of look up to. I felt like I was doing everything on my own. And so I didn't want to give up on myself more than anything. And so that's where my hard work ethic kind of came from.
Look like?
To me, success is not giving up. You know, as long as you have your head above water, and as long as your business is still viable, then to me you're successful. You know, you're still putting clothes on your kids' back. You still have a roof over your head, and as long as you put in the effort, 100% effort into your business, it's viable. And there shouldn't be any reason for you to give up on yourself, other than, you know, there shouldn't be a reason.
Yeah.
You know, I can't think of a reason. You know, there's some days that can be hard, you know, where you're just not feeling it, but you gotta look into the future a little bit and like, okay, well, where do I want my business to go, and how do I get there? You know, you gotta take every step that you can to kind of plan your path and make sure you're taking the right steps.
One badass dream that you have.
Honestly, I just want a badass gym. And to just have people come from all over and just experience what a good environment is like. Because some gyms cater towards more different federations, because powerlifting is kind of a tight-knit community and we have different rules that we kind of have to follow per federation. And so I like to promote powerlifting in itself. You know, I don't care what rules you have to follow, as long as you're doing what you got to do to get to the best of your abilities, and you can do whatever you want in here.
In the powerlifting community, it's individuals.
Definitely. And it's more of, I tell my new clients this all the time, is that in powerlifting, a lot of people worry about their numbers and stuff like that. You know, like how much they can squat, how much they can bench and deadlift. But at the end of the day, unless you're top 5, you don't get paid for this. You know, you don't, it's a hobby. It's something that you should do for fun. Yeah, you can get a little competitive in it, and you know, you can go medal chasing and whatnot. But at the end of the day, just have fun with it. You know, it's like, I don't even get paid for powerlifting. I put more money into powerlifting than I get out. And so it's just one of those things that, you know, the kind of impact that I'm wanting for people to do or to experience here is to just have fun. You know, just have fun doing it, and to see if you even like it. And so when I get a new client, I try to get them to come to a powerlifting meet first before, you know, they actually get too invested into it, to make sure they like the environment. You know, that's basically what you're signing up for, you know, is to compete on the platform in front of people. So that's kind of where that goes. So just to have fun more than anything, and just be yourself. You know, try not to copy other people, and, you know, because your numbers aren't going to be the same as someone else's, and to that person you don't kind of matter, which is kind of mean to say, but, you know, you should be your own person and do your own thing. The advice that I have for young entrepreneurs that have a dream is to analyze every opportunity that you get, whether it be a good or bad one, and really just try to focus on making it your business. Because at the end of the day, people will come to your business because they like you more than anything. So if you try to copy someone or copy an idea like word for word or look for look, it's not the best way to go about things. Make it yours, you know, make it something that you can brag about. I created this out of my head and people like it. So once COVID is kind of out of the door, our game plan is just to really volunteer at a lot of places, just to get our name out there. You know, we started this volunteer program here at the gym more for powerlifting meets, but I mean, we're pretty open to help out in the community as well. and just try to get our name out there in the door and in the streets. So, if I have a business partner that we do a lot of moving for elderly people, and so that's been kind of picking up a little bit, and so that helps out in the community just with individuals, and we're just trying to get more out there, more social media posting, being at more powerlifting meets to promote the gym and who we are and what we're about, and just being active in the community more so. Yeah, I mean, honestly, I'd like to thank everyone that's been a part of our social media. Everyone on Instagram giving us support. All of our members here are awesome. Every single one of them does a great job at cleaning up after each other and making sure when they're done with something, they put it in the right place, and it's just been awesome. The community here has just been so great, and I couldn't be any more grateful for it. It's giving me the feedback that I needed more than anything to make sure that I know that I'm doing something right, with the people that I have coming here, and it keeps me going. It honestly does. It makes it to where I don't have to doubt day by day what's going to happen in my business, because I know that I'm bringing happiness to someone else. So thanks, guys.